Welcome everybody to the first virtual book fair USA. Now we are going to present from United States a poetry reading by Poet Laureate, A Celebration of War by Octavio Quintanilla, Tom Murphy, Priscilla Salina Suarez, Andrea Bocap Sanderson, accompanied by the presenter Libertad Betancourt. Thank you so much. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Maria Aguirre, who she is in Peru. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for being in backstage, helping us always, all the technicians that are helping us for this transmission. And today I have to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening all around the world, because this festival, this book fair is the 8th virtual book fair, and now it's in United States. We are the guest, and we are celebrating, and we are opening our hearts and homes and country for all poets, writers, and artists that they are presenting their material here. Today is not a common day in the fair. Saturdays and Sundays, this Saturday especially, and Sunday are just for tributes. And I was thinking, Libertad, which person you are going to present in this space? And I had the idea, and Octavio Quintanilla helped me to make this dream come true. And the idea is, we have poet laureates in this country, and especially in Texas, we have very talented poets, and are my friends. Octavio is a good friend of mine. He's a poet laureate too. And we have for first time the poets laureates. One friend told me, hey, Libertad, don't put me the poet laureate in my banner. And I say, no, I'm not putting for everybody. It's because they are really poet laureates. And today we have 4. I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you, Octavio. And I want to introduce, if you want to introduce yourself, I think it's going to be the best form. Thank you and welcome.
Okay, hi, I'll start. Hi, my name is Octavio Quintanilla, and I'm originally from the Rio Grande Valley, and I moved to San Antonio about 8 years ago. And 3 or 4 years later, I became the 4th poet laureate of San Antonio, Texas. My term ended in 2020, and vocab took over, and she'll talk in a bit. I am an associate professor of literature and creative writing at Our Lady of the Lake University here in San Antonio. I'm a writer, and looking forward to reading and talking to you all.
Ladies now, one of the ladies, Andrea or Priscilla.
I'll go ahead and follow Octavio. I'm Priscilla. I'm from South Texas, from the Rio Grande Valley. I'm right now in McAllen, right in the borderlands. And one of the things that I love about being a poet laureate from Texas is how we're all connected and we all work together, and we're all compadres. We're like, we all, that's the way we learn from each other. And I was a 2015 through 2017 poet laureate from my city here in McAllen. And so I've been working with Edward and with Rodney Gomez, who are the 3rd and 4th poet laureates from the city. And so it's just been an amazing experience writing poetry, learning about my community. That's one of the best things that I've taken away. I've learned so much. And I feel like I have a different lens now from what I did before my experience as poet laureate. And so I'm here writing about our experiences from the Valley, and I'll pass it on to someone else.
Vocab, you want to go?
Yes.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm the current poet laureate of San Antonio, Texas. I have the honor of having a 3-year term because of the pandemic that happened and started in 2020. Coming into my poet laureate position is when the pandemic started, and it's been a whirlwind. I've had to step up in leadership and as an artist and answer the call for so many things that have happened, including, civil rights issues that have come to an all-time alarming rate here in the United States. It's been my pleasure and my honor to do so. I'm about to embark upon my signature initiative in just a couple of months. I'll be rolling that out in the fall. And I'm excited to do the ECHO project. I won a fellowship with the Academy of American Poets. And I'm just excited to be amongst such beautiful people today and share our words nationally, internationally, and blessings and love to everyone who may be watching.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tom Murphy, and I'm the Poet Laureate of Corpus Christi, Texas. I'm originally from California, but I've been living in Texas for 25 years now, and in Corpus for 20 years. We call it Corpus, the local people. So I've picked that up. I'm really happy to be the third Poet Laureate of Corpus Christi. It is something we started with the People's Poetry Festival that we've been running for about 6 years now. And I'm looking forward to my tenure is 2021, 2022 to working with the community. And I'm hoping to do what VOCAB has done. And I'm going to apply for an American Academy of Poets Fellowship, but we'll see if they like what I have in mind, but we'll see. But I'd like to do something with the youth poets of our community and all who I've worked with before multiple times. But I've been writing for decades and all, and so it's. But I enjoy it. It's a calling in some ways, but more in some ways like I can't stop it. So I'm sure all of us agree that that is one of the things that we all have, is that commitment, that yearning, that need to get words out. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And everybody, I know what is a Poet Laureate, but not everybody. And remember, we have here not just writers or poets, we have different categories in art. And I would like that people, they know if I want to ask Octavio, and I want to ask for everybody, Octavio, what it means a Poet Laureate? And if you can tell me, all of you, just a little experience that what it means for you in your life be a Poet Laureate. And if we have many in this country, I'm sorry if they are not here right now, because we are focusing in Texas and in these beautiful people, but probably in the future, we are going to introduce more and more. Just share a little what is your experience and what it means a Poet Laureate. Thank you.
Well, I'll start. A Poet Laureate is here in San Antonio. San Antonio was the first city in Texas who had a Poet Laureate for the city, and then other cities followed San Antonio, Texas. And I think that says a lot about our city in terms of just being visionary in the arts. Here in the city, a Poet Laureate, or for San Antonio, is someone who promotes poetry, promotes the literary arts in the city, and outside of it too, because everywhere we go, VOCAB, myself, former Poet Laureates, we're representing the city, we're representing the poetry life in the city, the literary arts that take place here in the city. So that's what we are. We're representatives, and we promote literature, we promote poetry, we go to schools, we go to events, literary events, sometimes events that we ourselves promote, originate, and sometimes events that are from other organizations that work with the city, that work with the Poet Laureate. So as far as what it means to me, or what it meant to me, or what it still means to me, I think once you're a Poet Laureate for San Antonio, in a way, I would kid around with my friends like, VOCAB is new Poet Laureate. I'm always going to be Poet Laureate in a sense, it's true. I guess you are the former poet laureate of the city, and that title, I think it's an honor to have for anybody who has represented a city. I mean, not everybody gets that chance, that opportunity, and to do it as well as you can and as honorably as you can, and to help the community. It's all about community, I think, at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful ladies.
Yeah, I think for me, when I go to schools, one of the questions that I get asked when I go to like middle schools or high schools, one of the questions I get asked a lot is if being a poet laureate means that I'm the best poet of McAllen. I'm like, no, that's not what it means. Being a poet laureate is a commitment. And I'm the second poet laureate from the city of McAllen, from my region. Luckily, I had a lot of mentors. And one of those mentors is still currently Jan Seal, who was one of our former Texas State Poet Laureates. And so I asked her when I was appointed the city's Poet Laureate, I asked her, like, what do I do? Like, I'm not sure. I have no idea where to start. And so one of the things that I learned from her is that it is a commitment. And one of the things that I committed to was to finding spaces for the arts community, not necessarily just poetry or writing or literature. It's the entire arts community. We're all connected. And so that was one of my jobs, to find venues for us to have these open spaces. One of the things that's very unique about the Valley is, especially being a McAllen Poet Laureate, we're representing the entire Valley. It's not just McAllen. And so, being a poet from the Frontera, one of the things that I learned is that I've always said that when we do panels throughout the nation with poets from the RGV, we always talk about how we're representing the border, the border of the Valley. And I realized that's not true. We're representing this border, but we never connected with the other side of the border. Those voices are very important. And so finding those connections, I just learned so much. And, for example, going to the consulate, El Consulado de Mexico in McAllen, the Mexican consulate in McAllen, they were hosting poetry readings, and just that pride and that celebration that the Spanish-speaking community took, having poets from Monterrey, from a couple of hours away, coming all the way just to find that space, was just so interesting and such an eye-opener about how celebrated poetry is in our communities. And so it's a job. It's a job, and it doesn't end when your term ends. And that's one of the lovely things about our communities here in Texas, our Poet Laureate communities, is just how welcoming everyone is. We're always trying to find like-minded people. And so that's just been an amazing experience for me, how you want to take a break sometimes, and you do, but they pull you back out. We need, to find all the spaces that we can. And it's just an ongoing project. And also being a poet laureate also means being a mentor for your community. And it's something that I've learned.
Thank you.
Okay, well, beautiful answers, everyone, already. I would say, if I had to contribute to this answer, being a poet laureate to me means leadership. It means it's a role of service. I'm here as a public servant to service my community, to look for the voids and to be that voice. And what I found out during this season is that it wasn't limited to literacy. It was unlimited for me. It was boundless, because people asked me to speak up about so many things. And I just used poetry as a mode to speak to that issue. So for instance, people wanted me to do a commercial about health and safety and get people to wear masks. And so I use singing and I use spoken word to do that project. And every time I go into a different setting, I just use this form and I take it with me, because it's a craft for me. And the other part of this is inspiration. We are here to inspire community. We're here to inspire them to write. We're here to inspire them to read, and we're here to inspire them to celebrate others that do that form. So many people, one of the main questions they always ask me is, what do you do when you get writer's block? And I'm called to have an answer for that. Even when myself I feel blocked, I have to find a way to push past any blockages and speak to where people's needs are, because they're the ones that need our help. And so this role is not about me, it's about community. And once a laureate, always a laureate as far as I'm concerned. So your job definitely doesn't stop when your term ends. You're always going to be a representative. And like I said, I'm very happy to be representing with everyone that's here.
Wonderful. And the last time is for Tom. And after that, we are going to read poetry. Okay, be ready.
I got my mic off now. Okay, good. I agree with all three of your ideas of what a poet laureate is. And to me, it is about community, and it is service, and it's time to give back. I think that's one of the things that poet laureate is the most important aspect of it, is to be giving back to the communities. And so that is what's up front for me right now. I have to say it's been a little slow going. Nobody's offered me commercials to help out the community. But I think the San Antonio Poet Laureate program is probably the most sophisticated around in some ways, because of how interactive they're working with their poets. Ours seems to be almost, I have to say, ceremonial and all. And so, but this is one of the things I want to try to break that in some sense, and to actually do some projects that will help our community out, especially I think the younger poets. I mean, it was amazing with the inauguration recently with Amanda Gorman's fabulous presentation of her poem. And our youth are so important, and I want to use Amanda Gorman in some senses as a model of what can be done. Young people's voices are so important, and at times been so silent by the establishment, by their own self-censoring too at times. So I think that I'd like to work to break that mold a bit. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. I love the answers. Thank you so much. And now we are ready to listen to you, your wonderful words. You are ambassadors of the world. Okay, Octavio. Octavio, you are going to share what your front textos, or what are you going to share?
I'm going to read a couple of new poems. I'm looking at the time, and I think I have time for a couple of poems, maybe 3. They're not that long anyway. And I'll start with a love poem. It's called Vulnerability. Some mornings the world is soft. It sends you a bird you can't name to sing outside your window. The bird could be anyone you want it to be. It could be the love you lost because of selfishness, or a younger version of yourself asking for an apology. How many times have you dipped your hand into the mirror and tried to touch the last ripples of what you're ceasing to be? You used to believe in innocence, and now this bird reminds you that this morning all you want is for it to be a bird singing, nothing more. You have all you want next to you, her body against your body, your face half buried in her hair, your arms around all the rightness you can possibly hold.
Nice. Very nice.
Thanks. And then I'll read The Poetics of Displacement. And this is, I don't know, it's an essay, it's a poem, it's a hybrid. You decide. I'm gonna call it a poem. The Poetics of Displacement. And it's dedicated to, refugee days coming up. So, and I know Vocab, myself, and a bunch of other poets are going to be reading next Saturday, I think. And this is a poem that I think I'll read for that day, The Poetics of Displacement. To address displacement, I must first address my own. This is what poetry does. It allows you to write about others by writing about yourself, because in the end, displacement is about loss. It's about what is left behind as you make your way across a border into a new country. And if displacement is about loss, then it is also about how we spend our lives remembering. It's about memory. Displacement threatens memory with the distance it is made of. And poetry is a means to remember that distance. That distance is often made of suffering. Poetry allows us to collect our personal and historical memory. It doesn't laugh at us. It doesn't try to put on a mask and entertain. It is something more. It is transformation. When you make a poem, you fold language into a thing that can be read with your fingers or with your eyes. A thing you can hear, a thing you can feel, and that makes you feel. We might think the margin of the page is a border, but it's not. And if it is, it can be crossed. Crossed like the many political borders are crossed by the many immigrants who try to make new poems out of their lives every day. As someone who carries the trauma of displacement, I must rely on language to help me remember. What is the Spanish word for water? What is the Spanish word for longing? What is the Spanish word for failure? My relationship with language is made of failure, made of absences I can't name, but I try. And for this trying, I must rely on my body. I must allow it to speak to me in a way a living thing that has a mouth made of shadows must speak. And what I hear is that it doesn't want to tell you a story that you can follow with your senses. It wants to tell you a story made of disruption, ellipsis, silence. Those are my two poems.
Oh, I'm quiet. That's all? Yeah, we have time, don't worry. We are going to read more and we are going to come back probably with you, Octavio. You, okay, or you are ready for another? No, right?
Who, me?
Or wait a little because we'll be back at the end with you.
Sure.
Okay, and now I would like to move the order just to make something not traditional. We can continue with Andrea. Yeah, just we are going to move in the order.
Keep it in San Antonio. So, all right, well, I'm going to read from my book. It's entitled She Lives in Music. It's published on Flower Song Press, so shout out to the Valley. I love music with all my heart. So these poems that I'm going to read, they are about Miles Davis and jazz. And he had an album, and this is a dedication to his work. This one's called Part One of a Duet. It's not the name of it. Let me try that again. This is part one of a duet. So the title, the full length title is A Duet, Part One, Kind of Blue. I will not change my color, for I have found the hue that suits me deeply. So what if you cannot understand? I have wet my reed and let the emotion bleed deep into my horn. I have found the frequency of forlorn, sitting juxtaposed to quarter note, tapping its toe. It is here where I will place my prose like a single white rose on a casket, carved of the richest mahogany. I will place my prose here below a lazy Freddie Freeloader, willfully slouching on the shoulder of melancholy. Those ivory keys cannot tickle me with folly. I will let my lips wilt down into a frown, rubbing blue and green, careening in a conversation only muted by trumpeting devastation. I will let the blast blanket me, softened bebop-free complexity-stricken chords gone crazy over the top. I cannot afford such a frenetic exertion of sound. My tongue is tightly wound against my wounded palate, pushing air into this instrument, finding polyphony blended beautifully to complement my fellow players. We are the purveyors of melodious whispers unrestricted by measure. Using the mode as our muse, we captivate the frame of meter and time, verse and rhyme, pacing through legato as we meld into the climb. Wide-eyed, seeking the place where structure and improv align, strike a balance supine, and all blues burst from the scenes of bow and bell. Yes, I have a place for my prose here. I will eternally dwell, tipping my hat brim to a mellow scale of composition as I proposition Orpheus and Apollo alike to come and sit with the band tonight. Let us plot our flight into a legendary realm that exceeds comprehension and compare. Sharp lead rippling out flamenco sketches, out like binary code, a spectrum of once subdued blues. Folds. Part 2, all blues. Can we take this brass, paint it serene? Baby, let me fade your love blue and green. I used to taste your jazz. It was so supreme. Tertiary colors gradating the scene. Enviously I watch, jealously embedded within I listen. The way you caress her bronze curvaceous form like passion gave you permission. You hold her neck in submission, whisper sweet nothings into a delicate, pouty mouthpiece. Tornadic winds begin blowing in my mind. You've creased the corners of my heart bent. Virtually all the time is spent pressing her buttons. I want all or nothing. I am passionately possessive. My gaze arrests you like the police. As I call for a cease and desist, but you can't resist the temptation to play with her. I beckon for your love, but you stay miles away. I summon you, but you are afloat toward jagged rocks, siren swayed. I beckon for your love. I beckon for you to love me, but you stay miles away, you foolish minstrel. Can't you see? You blow your cool and she sets you free. I am here when she goes silent. When twilight fades into the wee hours, this art has got you captive under lock and key. You cower to the calling, falling beneath the brew and spell. I watch envy scaling my skin like a crocodile's tail. You wail one last note and cloak my heart in the dark, a riff that tears my pulp apart.
Oh, wow. Now I know why you are the four poet laureates. Oh my goodness. One day I will be right like you. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Now the turn, who wants? Tom, Priscilla? We cannot hear you, Tom.
I can go, sure.
Okay.
All right, so this one is from my first book here, American History. You can go to my website, tommurphywriter.com, and see my books there. This is called Sangre de Cristo, and this was on SLU Press, and actually Octavio's book is on SLU Press as well. So very nice shout out to Chris Carmona and to Chuck Taylor. Thank you. On a hand-woven blanket I bought that you picked out at Acoma, we rested in the solstice sun naked, off the road, behind the praying hands, the rock between Taos and Santa Fe, under the loom of the white jagged teeth, the peaks of the Sangre de Cristo. You said I had promised to rub your back. So I saddled over your deep brown buns. The caressing sun kissed the bronze skin from shoulder to ample bearing hips, where many thin white lines from whip slices lie, like fissures in rock and molten lava filling in. I traced the curved lines your father gave you on the night he found you naked in the arms of your first lover. In the doorway, your father screamed at you, "Not my baby, not a zinni." Like chalk, I tried to erase the white arcing scars, pushing the skin till it turns red while my tears fall. Through the sunburned desert, I see warriors dead, flies buzz, their blood-caked faces. Trickles of blood trace women's thighs as they chant and rock. Soldiers rifle bash the last members of the tribe to march from their homes. Buzzard days of no food or water, the elders sink into the chawed ground. Your father moved to Boston to escape the memory of genocide, alcohol suffering, corrugated education, and rust bucket wheels. He whipped you for taking a black lover. Late that night, you stuffed your day pack full of clothes, pulled it over your tendered shoulders, your back stinging. Wincing, you popped the window open to the freezing wind. Without gloves, you climbed down the drain pipe 3 floors, blood soaking through your t-shirt while you walked to a 7-Eleven. Under the brightly lit overhang, a couple of winos huddled together, shivering in tattered rags. One hand held the receiver, the other dropped coins into the stone-cold phone. There is not enough love in my fingers or my tears to smooth the scars I caress from your brown skin. The wind breathes a chill across my shoulders that I choke on. Turning your head, the long dark trestles unveil your face to catch the light of the jagged snow-capped peaks. Reflected in your soft brown eyes, you drink in the light of the Sangre de Cristo, and a smile comes to your lips. Arms mesh chest to chest, our bodies tightly rock. On the blanket, your voice, a warm lilt, whispers into my ear as the praying hands rock the sun. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know if you want to go on to another one and we'll come back around because I've got a couple more, whatever you want to choose, Todd.
They have, you read 2, right?
That was 1.
And yeah, one more to Priscilla. Sure. They will be back with 1 with Octavio and 1 with everybody. We have time.
Okay. Does that mean yes? Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm never going to say no to poetry. Never.
Well, that's a great thing. Not everybody's like that. So this is my second book, Pearl, that came out, Flower Song Press, Edward Viduri. Thank you very much. Yes. There we go, vocab. This is a shorter poem, and it's a little more rockier, I guess. It's called The Swagman's Bag. I once held the swagman's bag, lighter than air. With a finger casually swing, hung the bag over me shoulder, the swagman's treasure lightly pressing. Atlas smile on me mug, as I swagger that bag like Darby Crash, jiggling a spike, getting it all in for the big dance up on the sun. It was fleeting, mere moments, time's grains falling, no sweat. Swagman's bag, across these shoulders, if he ever shows round here again, I'd be happy to buck his load once more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Priscilla. It's your turn.
So the first poem I'll start off with what is coming into the new year. I felt like I needed a barrida. And then when I thought about it, I realized like, I feel like the whole entire valle needs a barrida. And so this is a poem reflecting on barridas. It's titled Barridas. A barrida for my great aunt Irene. Grandchildren fighting each other in her barrio. Rival gangs taking over her bloodlines in Reynosa. Sangre contra sangre. For her, whose weary hands can no longer enjoy the safety homes should endure. A barrida to sweep away the fragile states of her energy. Un remedio for my tia Rosa. Cancer in her pancreas and her cervix and her uterus. 30 years fighting with chemotherapy and radiation. Promesas to Don Pedrito Jaramillo to cure her entirely. Un remedio for cancer never to come back. A sobadora for the immigrants back. Through deserts and heat strokes and brave rivers, hunger and fear and hope, with losses amounting over broken wings. A sobadora to release the sustos and the trauma we could never imagine. A limpia for the children in cages, stolen from the desperate arms of their parents, displaced by a home country that will not embrace them, displaced by a foreign country they had faith would welcome them, stolen childhoods and hearts weeping. A limpia to heal the children from grief tearing at them. Un té de hierritas for the migrants in Matamoros. The stress of the encampment goes on indefinitely. Tarps and blankets, the only protection against elements of a harsh nature. No turning back. Refugees treated as criminals. Un té de hierritas for their ailments of stress and anxiety. Sage for the families fighting COVID. Households divided in fear and precaution. The sick isolated. Let them cleanse the negativity from their homes. Smoke to disinfect the air. Sage to clear out the unwanted energies. That was a little bit. I realized I had put a manuscript together during the early months of 2021, and it came out really somber compared to the way I usually write. So I realized like that that's been the impact. But I wanted to share this next poem. I write a lot about my abuelitas and my abuelitos. They come out a lot in my poetry. One of the things that my abuelitas did a lot is they always had dichos for everything. And so this is a poem that I dedicated to all the abuelitas in my life, whether they be bloodline or not, or they be my tias, or, my mom who became an abuelita, seeing also all those precious abuelitas that surround us. From Abuelitas Dichos. Abuelita was a wonder wall of dichos, some picosos, otros sabios, and many I could never quite figure out. She would tell us, her granddaughters, cuando alguien juzgue tu camino, préstale tus zapatos. How did she know there would be days our voice would ask for permission to be heard? That the details of our world would be a map no GPS could guide us through? Or how we would be told to start over before the starting even began? Mijita de mi vida, she'd advise us after seeing us tread obstacles. Lo que no te mata te hace más fuerte, más dura, más fría, más mala y más guapa. Wisdom, she fed us with her dichos in a means to revolt against her years of silence. Las palabras se la lleva el viento, she'd whisper, with a hope she'd cast us outside that box of stereotypes so we'd walk the walk against invisible borders. She collected strips of dichos, not knowing she was sowing bows of honor, believing that ausencia al más amigo presto le pone en olvido. But look at her now, word by word, a poem spoken from my mouth. Maybe I can hear her humming, yo soy quien soy, y no me parezco nadie, me cuadra el campo, y el chiflido de sus aires, when I doubt the 2 cents I choose to give. Because though I doubt the path I have taken, it was mine and only mine to take. Dichos become dangerous when used against doubt. As I learned from that viejita, wrapped in layers of ropaje and rebosos, as she reminded us, quien con lobos anda, a aullar se enseña. Y míranos, look at us, a family of sorts, with the comadres we find in every journey of life. I look around my communities and I can visualize abuelita's favorite dicho. Dime con quién anda y te diré quién eres. In a room of nietas and abuelitas to come, I can exhale amidst the notion of dreams and consejos that bond each and every one of us. We are bearers of her wonder wall of dichos, as we remember to take her example of living life by her motto. no cuentes tus días, haz que tus días cuenten.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. I feel a special connection when you use, I love that. Is when you do that? What it means, tell me. Oh, I love it. It's first time that I see that. And okay, we don't have many time. I want to close my mouth. I want to listen to you. One poem, everybody, okay?
All right. First of all, I don't know if I have time to speak again, so I just want to thank the panel here, Libertad, the organizers, Vocab, Tom, Selena, Priscilla, everybody. Thank you for being here. And the audience too. So I'm gonna read a poem called Dog Hanging. The dog we tried to hang knew who I was. I say we because even though I didn't pull the rope, I was there. Something secret in me wanted the thing done. And the same secret thing wanted the rope to break. No way we could define grace, standing there, shades within the shades of trees. Our chests too small to contain all we felt. So it poured out of us into the ground for the wind to carry like ribbons of silt. And how do you apologize to the wind? The syllables, how far will they travel? In what branch will they get stuck? What animal will mistake them for leaves and sniff and bite down into nothing? All we had left was the clear white mouth of the afternoon and a dog's fear too heavy for an 8-year-old to lift. So we let it go, and it let us go. And we headed to the shallow river to cool our feet, throw rocks at our reflections. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. It's been a pleasure to be with you all today. So I'm going to share this poem. It's called Simply Me. Woke up to an epiphany of who I've become. The embodiment of my experiences coupled with temperance emanated into this song. I know right where I belong. Tucked underneath my skin is the perfect blend of grace, wisdom, and certainty. My affirmations match my expectations. My whole body is an anthem. My heartbeat keeps the drum, and it's so amazing. Feeling lush virtuosity, and it's amazing. The blend of fabric woven meticulously, I see the good in me. Natural beauty, internally it flows through fluidly like fine linens of self-love. Esteeming my heart in high regards, looking above fault lines. No more earthquakes of criticism and critique. I will not weigh myself against others because I'm unique, and it's amazing.
Wow.
Okay, I'm gonna hopefully have enough time and everything. This is from Good Cop, Bad Cop, and a new, fresh anthology put out by Flower Song Press with the editors Edward Viduri and Vincent Cooper. And my poem in this is called Again. Dawn's puce hue rises into the firelight, stretched skyline stellar, naked to the eye. Again, scared to death to drive the road of life, no matter the car, plush or beat. Going to the exact speed limit. As you pass them by, the driver is a person of color, going the maximum of the law, not because they believe it's their citizens' duty to obey the law. They are scared to death of the cops again. The good cops were the ones when you were hungry and drunk, Sapphire Bombay, driving the Beatmobile, a brown 1977 5-speed Toyota Corolla SR5, for $400, and we're driving around the country with only $120 and a mason jar of change and 4 gas credit cards in '89. And you scared the horses with that car, making your way to Ketchum, Idaho's outskirt bivouac with the car. Cops pulled you over, knew you were drunk, let you go the last 200 yards to your tent at 5 p.m. to sleep it off again. Klan cops, QAnon cops, Proud Boy cops, vigilante cops, Peckerwood cops, Rent-A-Pigs. They're not in the TV shows or on the flicks trying to convince you what holy, sanctified, goody, good law abiding people that you should trust. They're the ones that put up the bullet hole signs to be out of town by sunset. The ones that cuff you for nothing, the ones that beat you senseless, like Jonah Raskin, like so many beaten in dark nights, the ones that plant drugs in people's pockets, cars, homes, the ones that take your coke, again, whip out a mirror in the squad car as if they've always carried a smudged mirror. Those cops that arrest wheelchair people, ripping apart their chairs and beating those who try to help the invalid with chair parts, again. The ones that leave you bleeding to death on the streets to die, again. Pigs that pull you out for cranking up Back in Black in Los Gatos, bumper to bumper traffic, or the FBI tailing you to corner you at home. Or when Popo runs through your gated yard saying they're on the chase. They have the right to invade your privacy again. Lock your gates, lock your doors, keep those motherfucking pigs out of your house. Again, swinging batons at anyone in their way, beating everyone down on the ground to a bloody pulp, as if they have the right to kill those non-threatening people again. Gas masked horseback police in Louisville in 2004, in Civic Center, San Francisco, 1984 Democratic Convention protests, swinging their truncheons down to maim again, marching in full riot gear down Berkeley's University Avenue during the Battle of Seattle, through Joplin, through Minneapolis, through Kenosha, through Sanford, through Ferguson, through Charlottesville, through Oakland, through Anaheim, through Milwaukee, through St. Louis, through New York City, and down Barron Avenue again. Pigs are invading your neighborhood, invading your burg, invading your town, invading again, invading your city, invading your metropolis, invading your slam dance cosmopolis again. The good cops didn't take away the fire extinguisher you stole from the band room with friends. Driving at night, you spotted a single car in the Sears parking lot, chemical sprayed them and took off. They were pissed, and he was a better driver, chasing you through the barren concrete lot when the cop pulled you over again. The truth was told again, sent that fire extinguisher back with you to take to the principal, which you did, where Larry Lynch said, "I think you've learned your lesson, boys." Speed too fast, pulled over by the cops, asking idiocy with disdain, wrath, packed again, pepper spray, baton, stun gun, extra magazines with pistol, wanting direction. Where'd you come from? Where are you headed? Did you know you were going too fast? Do you have insurance? Do you have a license? Do you want me to take you downtown again? Pigs pulled over a brown or black driver, giving them the once over with flashing lights, siren, hand on gun, pulled them out of the car, bent them over the hood and cuffed again. Passing by the wallowing pig who bellows his baton shit, I yell racist citation again. The ghost of Gil Scott Heron rises and says, they want to send Whitey to the moon again. Where here, pigs kneel on heads and necks, killing in the name of their trumped up fake warrants again. Pigs no-knock pre-dawn break-in with shotgun shooting unarmed sleeping women in bed again. Pigs killing again, again, and again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tom. And now the turn is Priscilla. We are with the time, but you have the opportunity to read it.
Perfect. Libertad, thank you so much for allowing us to connect and share our work today. I think I can speak on behalf of all of us. We really appreciate this space. Quiéreme. ¿Quién la quiere? Me pregunta el tío Esteban. ¿Quién? Pues tú, tío. The cabrito roasting on the chimney as the odor of fresh baked tamales and the llantos of Grupo Bronco swam from inside this wonderful and familiar Reynosa home. My tío, a paz primo, is a clear example of amor de familia, unconditional, disregarding the distance and bonds of time. It is like the anillo of a distant bruja aunt presented me with, a woman I'd heard about and feared all my life, but with one shared laugh, I knew. Or like Catarino's football Sundays and Univision mornings in Michigan, so far from home, but con familia I'd never met. It was like meeting la tia Tomasa, or long-lost primo Chuy, or like the need of meeting the abuelita I never met. I whispered to her, quiéreme, quiéreme.
Wonderful. Maria Aguirre, I'm reading your messages, but for one reason, I cannot answer you. I don't know what, it's a problem, internal problem. I have to say thank you so much. Something that I wanted to say before you started is I feel a special connection when you use the Spanish language in the poems. It's a connection for everybody that we speak Spanish too. I love it. Thank you so much. And I think it's typically of Texas. I can see that in many poets and writers. Okay, I have to say thank you. I don't want to go. I know I don't have time, but I want to take just 1 minute. Everybody, please share with us your media. Where can I find you? Where we can buy the books, please.
For me, I'll start off. You can find me, my blog, it's pcsuarez.com. PC, like Priscilla Selena, Suarez.com.
You can find my work at tommurphywriter.com. Thank you. And thank you, Libertad, so much and all the panelists. They're fabulous.
And you can go to my website, octavioquintanilla.com. You can find books there.
Music that I have and the stuff, just everything, just Andrea Vocab Sanderson. If you Google me, it'll come up. It'll be there. And Flower Song Press, one more time, because most of us have books on Flower Song, and so it's a pleasure to be amongst my comrades. And thank you so much, Libertad, for your time, and thank you, Maria, for keeping us on task.
Thank you so much. And Maria Aguirre, could you put all the screen together, please, just to say bye-bye? I don't know if you can do it. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Octavio Quintanilla. I'm sorry if I make many questions in the beginning. Probably my questions, they have to be shorter for read more. But I think it's important people know about you and about what is Poet Laureate. Thank you. I'm really happy. Something good I did in this life for have this honor to be here with you, and I'm so happy. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Cesar Salvatierra, Alan Morales. They are our co-founders in our virtual book fair. Now we are hosters in United States. And thank you, Maria Aguirre, because you were in the transmission. I am so proud of you, and you represent United States and Mexico at the same time too. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.